Oh, hi, it's Ryan from Knights Around the Table. Thank you so much for joining me. That logo is too high. I gotta fix it. I had it adjusted up. I hope you could join me last Saturday night. We played through Zaya
with Dave. That was lots of fun. But I had sort of like a crawl at the bottom that was repeating the lore from the rule book as like a shipboard computer thing. So I had to adjust everything up, and apparently I haven't adjusted everything back down. Hey, Varys, how you doing? Thanks for joining me. This is a work jam, which means that this stream is not tuned to be super entertaining. It's just kind of like if you're at home doing stuff, I'm here doing stuff, and I just turn my camera on to capture whatever I happen to be doing. And what am I doing today? Well, let me tell you, here's the agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I record VO for the board game videos that I make. And then I'm going to actually record the VO for an upcoming board game called Trinity of Reign that's coming to Kickstarter in early November. And then I'm going to do the same thing for another one, Rolling Heights. I believe they're both out on Kickstarter on the same day. I'm going to hazard a guess and say November 3rd is the day. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll go in and edit some of those. So I have a sort of a goofy method prepared. I have this graphic. Where is it? Right here. Please say it works. It doesn't work. Hold on. I can make it work. Darn it. Just one moment. Aha! I know why it doesn't work. Because it's only in this view. Pachoosh, there it is. So I have like an on-air kind of thing, because once I start recording audio, I can't really talk to you or say anything to you in chat. But I thought that I would not be able to resist saying things and doing little asides and telling you about the process and what went into it. So I grabbed the bell from Pitt. So what I thought I could do is, if I'm tempted while recording these VO tracks, if I'm tempted to say anything to you in chat, if anybody says anything super interesting, or if I have something that I think is super important to tell you, I'll just hit that bell, and then in the in the waveform, I'll see that bell go off. I just realized now, like it goes on for quite a while, so I'm going to have to silence it before I start talking again in the recording. So here's what I do and how to do it. You just saw a glimpse of the script. So this is the script for Trinity of Reign. It's a game that's a little bit like, kind of like Risk meets Catan, sort of. And I use Google Docs to write my scripts. Let me just get my mouse over there. And if you've seen past work jams, you know what's going on here. So the orange stuff is going to be where Ryan says, the Ryan shots is going to be host shots, like the one that you're kind of seeing up in the corner of your screen. The purple thing is the flyover, where I take the camera and I have the game all set up and I go boo doo 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 right off the top of the game. And then anytime you see a bold section, that's where I'm going to have title cards come in. And somebody made the suggestion, they said, because sometimes they turn on my videos and then they don't pay attention and they walk around the house and listen to them. And so I used to have the title cards come on silently, because I thought, well, the words are there. Who needs me to say those words? And then somebody said, well, I'd listen to them. I don't watch them. I thought, all right, okay, so I'll read those title cards. So I got to read those title cards. Anytime you see a little light bulb icon, that means that I've marked where a shot has to happen. And then you can kind of glimpse it in the corner there, the side of the screen, little comments dropped on all those light bulbs, and those are my my shot list requirements. So those are me writing out, like, at this point we need to see the board, and we need to see soldiers coming into this province, and we need to see a catapult, da da da. So that's what's going on the side. So you won't need to see that when I'm doing the voiceover recording. And what else can I tell you about these scripts? There's more orange. So what I just do is I hit record. I use Adobe Audition to record my VOs, and I start at the top of the script and I just read the whole thing straight down, and I even read the stuff that's in orange that's going to be a host shot later. And the reason I do that is because I learned in past projects, earlier projects, I wouldn't do that. I think, oh, I'm getting that later, what's the point? There's a good point. First of all, when I record the orange Ryan shots, when I have the whole VO together and I edit the whole file down, I get a great sense of, within a couple of minutes of play length, of runtime, how long the video is going to be. And that's really useful because it helps me plan out my time. I know obviously a 30-minute video is going to take me a whole lot longer to produce than a 20-minute video. So I get a sense of how to plan out my efforts for the rest of the project. Second thing is that in past projects, I've messed up. I mess up the Ryan shot, the host shot. Either I don't record it, or I don't know, something goes wrong and I don't have anything to fall back on. So I like having the whole thing just read in case I need to cut away from what I'm saying, or just in case anything goes. It's just a nice safety to have. What else can I tell you before I start recording? Tools. So if you wonder why I showed in the lobby in the thumbnail for this video, I showed a big, sexy, hanging, pro-looking mic. Nothing I do here is professional. You wonder why I don't have like a Blue Yeti or something on my table. Well, there are a couple of reasons. If you've watched a video called The Secrets of Nights Are on a Table, you'll see that I have a lavalier mic and it's glued to my body using toupee tape. This is the official toupee tape of Nights Are on a Table, this stuff. Ultra Hold Minis is double-sided. Very, very nice. I like it. These are the strips. These are what they look like. And so my entire studio space is littered with these little tabs that I've pulled off the adhesive tape. And yeah, that's stuck right here where my sternum is, and sort of in the crevice of my moobs, because it, you know, the shirt comes down and it's in a sort of a recess or an indent, and it's not, hopefully not going to rub against my shirt too badly. And if I do this, you'll hear it go. So it's right there. So the reason I do that is because I wear this also in the Ryan shots, and I found that one of the tricks is you don't want the VO. If you've seen my videos, you know that I cut back and forth between the stuff where I'm talking to the camera and the VO stuff where I'm showing the board and different things are flying in or whatever happening. So I found that if I do anything radically different with the voiceover process than I do with the Ryan shots, then it's you notice it. You know what I mean? Like even when I go to do pickups, so like areas where I screw up and I have to go back and set up all the equipment and do recording, you can tell when it's been recorded on a different day or even sometimes hours apart, because my energy levels are different. Maybe my voice is more or less tired or more or less lubricated. So I try to use the same equipment. I even try to face the same way. So right now my script is just sort of off to my left on a big monitor. That's another thing I was going to show you. I was going to grab this camera. Don't treat your equipment like this. It's very bad. Let's see if I could do this. I didn't prime this camera or prep it, but I just want to aim and show you what I'm seeing. So there's the camera that's looking at me, and then over here I've got like this big TV monitor that I can read my script on. So that's what I'm seeing. And this, all the pieces of the 2 games that I've been working on at the table. I'm sure that the publisher would not be happy that I'm depicting them like that. I don't even know if AEG is the company, the publishers that's doing Rolling Heights, and I don't know if I'm technically allowed to show you anything. I don't know. I hope it's okay that I'm reading the voiceover here and I'm not annoying them or anything. But they might have an embargo until the thing hits on Kickstarter. But I mean, I'm in the publicity game, right? So there's no such thing as bad press. So just know it's coming up. It's coming up in November, and I enjoyed playing it too. I will say that for free. Uh-oh, says Omelet. What's the matter, Omelet? Uh-oh, that Varys has food? I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I don't think they're going to get super mad or anything. I don't know. No, what if I do that? What if I poke the bear? There's a piece of Rolling Heights. Oh my gosh, I broke embargo. It's all good. Yeah, embargo. I kind of get embargoes. I guess part of it is that the PR team wants control over the thing, and they want to know that all the information is hitting at the same time on the same day. And so they don't. I don't know. I would think that more people talking about your game is a good thing, but you tell me. No, I don't own Planet X. Oh, but search for Planet X. That looks cool, though. I would like to own it. Oh, you asked, does Ryan own embargo? And then it thinks that, yeah, that wasn't even close. That's so true. Thank you, bot. The other thing that's really important for live streams and for VO recording is water to keep your voice. You'll notice that by the end of it, especially if I'm yapping at you on a stream, I'm gonna get pretty tired and raw. I come from a performing arts background where they always say you should always just use room temperature water when you're talking or singing or doing a show. And I don't, because I can't stand drinking room temperature water. I have an ice machine upstairs, and I just basically load it up to the boobs with just ice, just because I have to have it chilled. Today I forgot to push on the ice machine, so I have the proper room temperature water. Oh, disgusting. Don't ever. Blah, blah, blah. I'm putting it down on the floor where the remnants of Dave's coconut mess, again on Saturday, we had snack time. The snack we ate was these things, Tunnux snowballs, snowballs with faces on them, and they're rolled in coconut. And I tried to be tidy about it, and Dave apparently wasn't. And all it's just this entire horror show of coconut all over my floor. Dr. Pepper time. Yeah, you know what? That's funny. Just before, I'm talking a lot because I killed a Dr. Pepper just before this, so I might be a little bit. Really, the fun work begins when the Dr. Pepper is downed. Great. What am I doing? I'm reading a script, aren't I? Yes. Here we go. So, what you won't see on your screen is just me futzing a little tiny bit with Adobe Audition. And if we get into the part where I'm actually editing the thing, then you will see that piece of software. Well, I'm just going to hit record and make sure that it's recording, record. Checky, check. Check. My level is really low. Checky, check. No, it's too low. So what I'm going to do is turn my level up. Check. That's getting a little bit better. And now it's going to get really loud for you, but I can turn you down. Hold on. I got to find the right balance. Check. Hi, but clipping a little bit if I do. That's about the volume that I read my scripts at. That's just nuts. Sorry if I'm blowing your eardrums out. I got 2 different levels to worry about. Check. Okay, we're gonna go with that, and I'll turn you down because that's probably too much. Okay, just let me know how the audio levels are. I was a bit muffled before. I think these levels in OBS, they lie to me. I see myself clipping occasionally. But now the big risk is that I'm going to start recording this without hitting record on Audition. Okay, let me just play back in my ear. You might hear it too, what I just recorded. Hi, but clipping a little bit if I do. That's about the volume that I read my scripts at. That's just nuts. Sorry if I'm blowing your eardrums out. I got 2 different levels to worry about. When I get nervous, I go into kind of a Bill Cosby kind of thing. That's not that Bill Cosby thing, the other Bill. Okay, right, and canceled. Here we go. Hit and record. Thanks, Rado. This war can be won. We just have to collect some more frogs. Hi, it's Ryan from Knights Around a Table, and this is a prototype copy of Trinity of Reign. Here's how to play. You and your friends have just discovered the continent of Cairnhold and are competing with each other to assert your dominance. You'll raise up armies and construct buildings in order to gain control of Cairnhold's different provinces and territories, while your magical druids collect ingredients to craft spells that will give you a competitive edge. The game is so named because there are 3 different ways to win. You can achieve a military victory by building towns or castles on a certain number of territories. You'll get a wealth victory by building the ritzy Hall of Ancestors in your capital city. If I stop and reread a bit, it's because I'm in the basement. I've heard the house shift, or I've heard somebody step upstairs, or some sort of crick or crack, or my even joints in my body going snap, and so I'll back up. The game is so named because there are 3 different... The game is so named because there are 3 different ways to win. You can achieve a military victory by building towns or castles on a certain number of territories. You'll get a wealth victory by building the ritzy Hall of Ancestors in your capital city. And you'll get a religious victory by having one of your druids prepare and drink the fabled Potion of Tyrannus. The game can also end if one player wipes another player completely off the map. If nobody has achieved a victory by the end of 9 rounds, the various buildings, soldiers, and potions you own get a certain... If nobody has achieved... I'm nervous. If nobody has achieved a victory by the end of 9 rounds, The various buildings, soldiers, and potions you own get you a certain number of points, and the player with the most points wins the game. Welcome to Cairnhold. Which sounds to me like cornhole. Tell me I'm wrong. The continent of Cairnhold is split up into 6 territories, which are denoted by these thick... The continent of Cairnhold is split up into 6 territories, which are denoted by these thick lines. Each territory has 6 provinces, which are carved up by these lighter dotted lines. Each territory has 6 provinces, which are carved up by these lighter dotted lines. Each province yields one of 3 different resources. That's not actually true. The client approved the script. Many provinces yield one of 3 different resources: wood, stone, or iron, which are represented by these resource cubes. Cheryl's moving a chair around upstairs. Which are represented by these resource cubes. I get weird about the word resources because I pronounce it like it's a Z in the middle, and then I noticed that like Americans don't, and people got on my case for it on YouTube. They're like, why are you saying resources? They're particularly mean on the Catan video. That's almost the only place where I heard people complain about it. It's kind of like there was enough of a swath of humanity watching that video, and enough of that swath was jerks. And they were like, why are you saying resources? That's it. And I'm like, what? Am I pronouncing it wrong? It's resources, apparently. It depends. And then I asked my Canuck friends who grew up where I did, and they're like, yeah, I say resources too. And they never notice it. It's funny, these things that you never notice until you actually, out in front of the masses. Cheryl is apparently moving furniture upstairs. I might just drop her a little note, a little friendly marital note. Hold on. You won't see this on camera, but I'm just going to say, dear Cheryl, please stop sliding boxes around. Hold on. Hey, again, what is she doing? Hey, please shush. I can even hear her phone going bzz. Oh, did you try to get the cover up there, Omelette? Yeah, I was going to try to do the cover too, but this is Trinity of Reign, so I was going to try to get the Trinity of Reign cover up. There we go. Where is it? Right there. Yes. Oh, but it's too high. That's lousy. Give me 2 moments. So it's funny too when Cheryl knows that I'm recording, or the family. It's usually Cheryl. She knows that I'm recording, so she'll creep around upstairs. But then all I hear down here is like it's almost louder when she creeps because she's really putting a lot of pressure on the old tippy toesies. Let's see what she said. Let's see what she said. I'm recording this entire time, by the way. We are not making noise at all. You are walking around and sliding boxes or something on the floor. I am now, she says. The other thing is that I'm conscious of when I stream, the fan in my computer goes kind of crazy, and in order to help that problem, Cheryl helped me too. We bored a hole in the wall, and I stuck the computer on like the complete opposite side of the wall, so it's in a whole other room, but I can still hear it through the vent, and sometimes it gets picked up, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, I see. They're just yeah, she's just departing with my eldest for school, so they might be a little bit noisy for the first little bits. All right, back to it, back to it. I don't even know where I left out. Oh yes, I know where I left out, because you see these these card symbols are some reason, I don't know. That's what the foot pedals output when I hit when I hit the buttons with my feet. Oh man, that was a long break. Okay, back to it. There we go. Where did I leave off? Okay, many provinces, I think is where we were. Many provinces yield one of three different resources: wood, stone, or iron, which are represented by these resource cubes. There's a token on each province dealt face down that holds some secret information. Off the top of the game, you and your opponents will have chosen 3 provinces each to take a pair of... Off the top of the game, you and your opponents will have chosen 3 provinces each to place a pair of soldiers and a town. One of your starting towns gets a wall around it, which will help you defend it during combat. You also got to place one of your druids in one of the provinces you control. You're said to control a province if you have 1 or more active upright soldiers there. Notice that the soldiers are painted in each of the player's colors, but the buildings all look the same, as if they don't really belong to anybody. That's because they only belong to you if you have 1 or more active upright soldiers in that province. If you move your soldiers out of there, it's not your building anymore, and you can't do any further construction in that province. If another player moves one or more soldiers into that province, the building belongs to that player now. If another player moves 1 or more soldiers into that province, the building belongs to that player now. Now I'll get to wait for the toilet to flush. It's hard working in the basement. Especially like during the pandemic, when like the whole family was home all the time, right? So it was crummy, right? Because I had to say to them like, okay, before it would just be like they'd all be out of the house, so I could like book my time and just kind of record like whenever I wanted, as long as it was within that window, and it was fine. But then like when the pandemic hit, I had to say like, I'm recording, and it was the worst because nobody can use the house. They can't walk around. They can't use the bathroom, flush the toilet. They can't run any sinks. We can't have the air conditioning on because the vents make noise down here. We can't have the heat on because the vents make noise down here. It's crazy. Now you want a Dr. Pepper. Man, I should get them to send me a couple cases. Look at that. Not so subliminally putting the desire to drink Dr. Pepper into your brains. Are they done? Have they left yet? Here, let's check messages from Cheryl and see if it's finally save time. When, please? So yeah, I have to tell the whole family I'm recording this afternoon. So you know we gotta, and they'd say, what time, right? As before, I used to sort of like be able to just feel my way around it, but now I needed to have a start hard begin time. So like 1 p.m. and everybody would have to just pick a couch and just go to the bathroom and make sure they didn't have any needs they needed to meet, and then just like sit in bed or on a couch or something and not move for like the hour or whatever it took me to record. It stinks. Do I have a costume plan for this video? That's a great question. I have a couple of choices for this one. I mean, the obvious choice is the crown, right, for Trinity of Reign. And then I don't have one for Rolling Heights. Rolling Heights, I'll show you a little bit. Again, I don't know if AEG is going to be mad that I'm showing anything to do with Rolling Heights, but it is a 1920s era kind of thing that has construction involved in it. And so I thought, I saw when I was at Spirit Halloween, it's like a Halloween store that, you know, pops up in a derelict section of the mall every year. They had hard hats, like yellow hard hats. And I thought that would be a great, you know, I don't know, grab one of those for $10. And I don't know if I'd ever use it for any other project, but why not? Is that a game set in the roaring 20s? It is, but there are no flappers anywhere in the entire game. Oh, I lie. Hold on. There's a little bit of flavor here. So there's this lady. You don't really see her much, and there's this, like, I don't know what he is, a steel tycoon or something. I don't know what these guys. They don't feature prominently at all. It's more like this character. You barely see anything. There's no art on the tiles or anything like that. You just get this scoreboard. We're talking about the wrong darn game. We'll do this one in a second, just as soon as we finish Trinity of Reign. I know that. Well, I shouldn't say it's less interesting than this, but there's the scoreboard. So that's about the extent of sort of the character art you see in the game. So there's those three people up there in the windows. Cool. I'm the master of ADD fueled sidetracks. Yeah, you guys helped me take an hour-long task and blow it out into 3 hours. I thought this was going to be a quick stream. Let's just see what Cheryl has to say. Trying to get her out of here. They're trying to take the eldest to school. Let's see if I can squeeze a couple more lines in. Lines of VO, nothing else. Da da do 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 do. Come on now. I thought this was a good idea. It's not. There we go. Okay. Where did I leave off? This is so impossible. Yeah, I did that. I would like to do that last line again, just because I wasn't happy with it. Hey, why are we clearing? Let's get that title back up there. That helps, just so we know what we're talking about. Yeah. If you move your soldiers out of there, it's not your building anymore, and you can't do any further construction in that province. If another player moves one or more soldiers into that province, the building belongs to that player now. Thanks for putting these markers in, by the way, Dave. A round is split into a few different steps. Collect income, do druid stuff, spend your money, place the new stuff you bought, move your units, and if you get up in somebody else's business, fight. Let me walk you through each one of these steps. Collect income. First, you advance the round marker. The first 2 rounds are colored green because those are peaceful rounds. Nobody's allowed to attack anybody else, so you get a little bit of time to build stuff and shore up your defenses. If you want to expand and dominate Cairnhold, you're going to need some money and resources. You kick off the game with $4, but that's chump change. Almost every construction project you undertake will net you some tax revenue at the beginning of the round. Your player board lists all the different things you can build later in the round. The top line is what the thing costs, and beneath the picture you can see what it gets you. So each of your 3 towns nets you 1 coin during the income step. Later, as you build more elaborate structures, you'll potentially earn more tax revenue and even special abilities. You get a couple of tracker cubes to mark your income, just to help you remember and plan for future expansion. I have a drinking problem. After you pull in your tax revenue, you can exploit the land for resources. After you pull in your tax revenue, you can exploit the land for resources. penguins. After you pull in your tax revenue, you can exploit the land for resources. In any province where you have at least 2 soldiers, you can lay one of them down to collect whatever that province yields. So here, it's 1 wood. Now, because that soldier is busy cutting down trees for you, you won't be able to move him around the map with the old bloop. Now, because that soldier is busy cutting down trees for you, you won't be able to move him around the map with the other soldiers later on. He's locked to that province for the rest of the round. And if your other soldiers leave that province, you don't control it anymore, because that woodcutting soldier isn't able to defend it. That means that if enemy soldiers saunter in, they'll catch your resource gathering soldier with his pants down and boot him off the map, claiming control of that province and any building that might be on it. That's why if you only have 1 soldier on a province, you can't lay him down to collect a resource. That soldier needs to stay active so that you maintain control. That soldier needs to stay active so that you maintain control. Druid actions. You and your opponents each get to control a powerful druid. You and your opponents each get to control a powerful druid who can contribute in each of the 3 different victory paths. You and your opponents each get to control a powerful druid who can contribute in each of the 3 different You and your opponents each get to control a powerful druid who can contribute in each of the 3 different victory paths: religious, military, and wealth. You'll be able to train up more druids in later rounds. Later in the round, when the soldiers start... I just said that. Later, when the soldiers start moving around the map, they'll be flipping over these tokens in each new province they discover. The tokens will sometimes reveal that that province has one of 5 different potion ingredients to collect: frogs, saltpeter, light mistletoe, blood... I can't see. The tokens will sometimes reveal that that province has one of 5 different potion ingredients to collect: frogs, saltpeter, light mistletoe, blood crystals, and power mushrooms. And power mushrooms. Your druids can collect these ingredients and use them to craft potions, which give you special powers. There are 2 different schools of magic in the game: the Isis branch and the Tutatis branch. At the beginning of the game, your druid will only be able to craft one of the 4 low-level potions. But if you craft both of the bottom rung potions from a particular branch, say the first 2 Isis potions, you'll be able to craft the next potion up the chain. And if you craft the 2 low-level Tutatis potions, you'll be able to work on this higher-level potion. If you successfully created... If you've successfully crafted both of these potions, you can begin work on the Tyrannus potion, which, if you brew it and then drink it in a later round, lets you invoke Godfather Tyrannus and win the game by religious victory. So, when it's your turn to take druid actions, each of your druids can either double So when it's your turn to take druid actions, each of your druids can either double your income in a province, collect ingredients, prepare a potion, or drink part of a potion you already own. Whenever you take one of the first 3 actions, you can move your druid onto a province you can... I should say I caught myself and it doesn't matter because it's an orange one, but I am trying desperately not to use that stupid tone that people use when they're trying to be factual and informative. That's kind of like a bastardization of newsspeak, where there's like a, I don't even know what to call it. It's like an upward scoop at the end of every sentence. So if I were to say that again, it's an upward scoop at the end of every sentence. You know what I mean? Like you pause on the third last word and then scoop down for the last 2 words. Da, 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 da. It drives me nuts. I can't stand it. You get a lot when you go to YouTube and, and you're looking up like, I don't know, how to install a battery in a microphone. And they go be, what's up guys? Today I'm going to tell you how to install a battery in your microphone. It's like, you're not Walter Cronkite. Why are you saying things like that? You're just a dude. Rants over. Hold on. I'm going to set my own marker for that. Great. Back to it. Whenever you take one of those first 3 actions, you can move your druid onto a province you control. Druids don't have to travel to adjacent provinces. They can just teleport around the map anywhere they like, as long as they end up in a province you control with 1 or more soldiers. I almost did it. 1 or more soldiers. So you can bounce your druid over to this province and double its income. That means you get another 3 coins from your metropolis in this province, in addition to the 3 coins you collected from it at tax time. To collect ingredients, move one of your druids to a province you control and take any ingredients you see listed on that province's token. To prepare a potion with the ingredients you collected, you have to have one of your druids in a province you control that has a holy site on it. If you're preparing an Isis potion, your druid needs to be in a province with a holy site of Isis icon, or a holy site of Tutati's icon if you're preparing a potion from that branch, or a holy site of Tutati's icon if you're preparing a potion from that branch. To prepare a potion, cash in the required ingredients, take the corresponding potion tile from the supply, and put it beneath your player board. The potion tiles have an active side and an inactive side. Flip your new potion to its inactive side. It won't be ready to drink until the next round. Later in the game, let's say you've crafted a few different potions. As an action, you can assign one of your druids to drink one of your potions and gain its benefit. As an action, you can assign one of your druids to drink one of your potions and gain its benefit. The potion will refresh in the next round. You can only build 1 type of each potion. You can only build 1 type of each potion. I'll go over what all the potions do later on, but if you manage to craft the highest tier potion and drink it in the following round, you'll invoke Godfather Tyrannus and win the game. Movement. The next step is to spend your money and resources buying new units and buildings. But I'm going to skip over that step because the decisions you make here really depend on what you want to do in the next step, and we need to look at your options before you can shop smart. So let's loop back to the buying step in a second and look what happens immediately after. Look at what happens, but it doesn't matter because it's orange. I should read it. So let's loop back to the buying step in a second and look at what happens immediately after. Once you place your new units and buildings, you get to move your units around the map to conquer more provinces and scrap with your opponents. Each player gets 2 chances to move units, beginning with the starting player and going clockwise. On your turn, you can either move units or pass. If you decide to move, you pick a province and then move any number of soldiers, catapults, and/or druids from one province into an adjacent province, as long as there's a gate connecting the 2 provinces. This is what the different gates look like. So you could move from here to here, but you couldn't move from here to here because, well, there's no gate. Quack. Different types of water and land don't impede your movement. Your units can travel across rivers and seas and mountains as long as there's a gate connecting the 2 provinces. If your units reach a province with an undiscovered token, you flip it over. Your catapults and druids need constant protection from your soldiers. If you move all of your soldiers out of a province with a druid in it, that druid gets bounced off the map. Same deal with your catapults. Like we saw before, if you move your soldiers out of a province with buildings in it, you don't control that province anymore, and those aren't your buildings. Likewise, if you move into a province with an abandoned building in it, well, that's your building now, and you control the province. After everyone has had an opportunity to move units into an adjacent province or pass, you do one more round and everyone gets a second opportunity to move. And then the round ends and you loop back to the beginning of the next round, where you replenish any potions you drank and stand your resource gathering soldiers back up. But if anyone uses a movement turn to march their units into a province with enemy units in it, well, that starts a fight. Here's how that goes. Combat. A fight starts immediately when you move units into a province controlled by the enemy. This player is the attacker, and this player is the defender. Before the fight begins, the defender has 2 options: retreat or reinforce. Retreating means that the defender pulls back some or all of their... Retreating means that the defender pulls back some or all of his or her units into an adjacent territory that he or she controls. If, instead, the defender chooses to stick it out and fight, the defender can move any number of soldiers from an adjacent province with a gate connection into the province where the fight is taking place. Note, that's soldiers only. The defender can't shore up the battlefield with druids or catapults. Now, when you fight, the attacker rolls red dice with black... Now, when you fight, the attacker rolls red dice with black numbers, and the defender rolls green dice with black numbers. Each player gets 1 small die for each soldier in the fight, and 1 big die for each group of 5 soldiers. The most dice you can roll is 8 dice, representing 24 soldiers. 5, 10, 15, 20, 24. Both the small attack and defense dice representing 1 soldier have 4 zeros and 2 ones on them. The larger dice, representing groups of 5 soldiers, have 3 ones, 2 twos, and a 3. The attacker rolls and the defender rolls, and you add up the numbers on each side. The number you roll represents the number of soldiers your opponents. The number you roll represents the number of soldiers your opponent loses. So if we had 2 soldiers attacking 3 soldiers, and the attacker rolled 1 while the defender rolled 0, this soldier would get killed off. Now the attacker has a choice: keep rolling or fall back. If the attacker falls back, he or she moves the surviving units back to the province they came from. If the fight continues, both sides roll dice for the soldiers. If the fight continues, both sides roll dice for the soldiers remaining in battle. If the fight continues, both sides roll dice for the soldiers remaining in battle. Back on your player board, you may recall that certain buildings you construct give you these little fortification bonuses. Each of these icons lets the defending player roll a white defense die during battle. So if the fight was happening here, where the defender owns a wall, that player gets to roll 1 white die along with the green defense dice. The most fortification dice you can roll in a fight is 4. Fortification dice reduce your casualties. So if the attacking player rolled to murder 2 of your soldiers, but you rolled a -1 on your defense die, you only lose 1 soldier. You only lose 1 soldier. The numbers on the defense dice are -1, 2 -2s, 2 -3s, and a -4. Druids and catapults make battles a little more interesting. You get to roll an extra special attack or defense die for every druid. You get to roll an extra special attack or defense die for every druid you have in the fight. The druid dice have white numbers on them, and the numbers are stronger than the standard small dice. The druid dice have white numbers on them, and the numbers are stronger than the standard small dice. They have a 0, a 1, 2 2s, a 3, and a 4 on them. And catapults break down defenses. Each catapult in the fight reduces the number of defense dice the defender gets to roll by 1. So here, this province is being attacked. The attacker rolls 4 small dice for these soldiers, and the defender rolls 2 small dice for these soldiers. A castle gets the defender 2 defense points, which lets the defender roll 2 fortification dice. But this catapult knocks one of those fortification dice away, so these are the dice the defender gets to roll. If the fight progresses to the point where one player's soldiers are knocked out, but there are still druids or catapults there, those non-soldier units get destroyed too. If both players lose all their soldiers on the same roll, then whoever would have lost the fewest additional soldiers gets to control the province with 1 remaining soldier. So let's say it's a 2-on-1 with a druid in the defending province. The attacker rolls 2, which knocks out the defender's last remaining soldier. But the defender rolls a 4, which knocks out all of the attacking soldiers. The remainder on this side is 1, while the remainder over here is 2. So the defender gets to control the territory with 1 resurrected soldier. If it's a tie where both players get knocked out, and they both would have lost the same number of soldiers in the overage, then both sides hang on to 1 soldier, and the attacker is forced to retreat. Buying and placing. Let's loop back to what's maybe the crux of the game, buying new stuff and deciding where to place it before the phase where everyone moves their units around. You do all of your shopping behind the secrecy of a player screen. You keep You keep your money and resources down here in your treasure chest. Remember, all the costs are up here above each picture, while all the benefits are down below. So, a town costs 2 coins, and you can only build it on a province you control. It's worth 1 coin in tax revenue every round. A metropolis costs $4 and caps off a town, but you can only build it on a province with one of these sunshine icons on it. A metropolis earns you $3 income. A metropolis earns you $3 in income every round. You can pay $4 and a stone to wall off a town or a metropolis, which adds 1 fortification point. You can pay $4 and a stone to wall off a town or a metropolis, which adds 1 fortification point to the province and lets you roll a fortification die if you get attacked there. A castle costs 4 coins and 2 stone, but you can't build it on a province where there's already a building. It has to be the only thing there. Likewise, you can't build a town in a province with a castle. Likewise, you can't build a town in a province with a castle. The castle gets you 1 coin in tax income and 2 fortification points. This is the part that's kind of a little bit Catan-like. Once you have this whole setup, a town that you've upgraded to a metropolis with a wall around it, you can pay 2 coins to convert that whole thing into your capital city. Each player can only have 1 capital for the whole game. I want to move my arms around, but then I risk my shirt rubbing against the microphone. If a province with a capital in it gets captured by the enemy, the capital gets busted back down to a metropolis, this time without the wall. If a province with a capital in it, dry. If a province with a capital in it, gets captured by the enemy, the capital gets busted back down to a metropolis, this time without the wall. Your capital gets you $3 in tax income and 1 fortification point. Your capital gets you $3 in tax income and 1 fortification point. But even better, it unlocks a number of expansion slots where you can build add-ons that get you extra abilities. You can't build anything in your capital until the next round, and the special abilities of the add-ons you build don't kick in until the end of the round in which you build them. But here are your options. This whole section might get cut for time. I don't know. I'm going to read it and see how long the thing is. And if I go over 30 minutes, I have to go to the client and say, like, look, it's going over 30 minutes. Do you want to pay or do you want to cut chunks out? And this, if they say we want to cut, this is the area that I'll cut. This spot holds your seat of government. There are 3 different buildings you can build there. These 2 spots let you build... Is there a colon there? A dash. This spot holds your seat of government. There are 3 different things you can build there. These 2 spots let you build 2 of 6 possible extensions. These 3 slots let you build defending towers. And this spot lets you build the Ancestral Hall, which lets you win the game with a wealth victory. The 3 seats of government you can install are the Palace for 4 coins and an iron, the Guild Hall for 6 coins and a stone, or the Union Hall for 4 coins. The Palace gets you an additional combat die for every druid you have in battle. The Guild Hall adds 1 fortification point to all your walls and castles. This is a thing that the rulebook didn't mention that I gotta add. The guild hall adds 1 fortification point to all your walls and castles, including the implied wall around your capital. And the union hall gets you a potion ingredient of your choice, once per round. These two extension slots let you build these extensions, but you can't build 2 of the same extension in your capital. Here's what they do. For $16 a wood and 2 iron, the barracks cuts the cost of your new soldiers in half. Pay $10 in a wood to build the market hall, which sweetens your income from your castles and metropolises by 1 coin each. $4 gets you the Guild of Druids, which lets you take 2 extra actions with one of your druids every round. Building the War Academy will run you $8 and an iron. It doubles the effect of your catapults and lets you loot 1 coin from the supply for every enemy soldier you kill. 6 buckaroos and a stone buys you the School of Stone Masonry, which cuts the cost of walls in half and lets you build castles in barren provinces. Some of the tokens you flip over in different provinces have this dead tree on them, which means you can't build anything there. But the School of Stone Masonry breaks that rule by letting you construct castles on them, but not anything else. And the Order of the Gods comes in at $6 and a stone. It immediately gets you a free druid, whereas all the other capital extensions don't activate until the end of the round. Your max druid count is 3, when ordinarily you're only allowed to have 2 druids. Each defending tower you build for 6 coins and a stone earns your capital an extra fortification point. And finally, the game-ending Ancestral Hall has to be built in 2 separate expensive pieces. The bottom of the tower costs 10 coins and 4 stone. It lets you sell your resources to the bank for 3 coins apiece. The top of the hall will run you another $8 and 4 wood. If you complete the Ancestral Hall and manage to hang on to it for the remainder of this round and the next, and nobody else has won the game through some other means, then you take it with a wealth victory. That means that the latest you can complete the Ancestral Hall is round 8. Because if you finish it in round 9, you won't have a full round to brag about how expensive it was in order to win the game. The buildings and extensions are meant to be limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Apart from the buildings, you can also buy soldiers for $2 each. Apart from the buildings, you can also buy soldiers for $2 each, catapults for $6 and an iron, and an extra druid for $6. Remember, you max out at 2 druids unless you own the Guild of Druids. Like Cones of Dunshire. So behind the secrecy of your player screen, you spend money from your treasure chest into your expenses column and pile up the things you're buying in the acquisitions column. Everyone can go shopping simultaneously. When all players are ready, you remove your screens and check each other's math. If everything is in order, everyone places their buildings on the map simultaneously. Then, in player order, everyone has 2 shots at placing any soldiers they purchased. In the first pass, you have to place at least half of your new soldiers, but you may want to hold back but you may want to hold back a few until the second pass, just to see what everyone else is up to. You can only place soldiers on provinces you control that have buildings in them, so you won't be able to bolster this little recon mission in the middle of the map. After the first batch of soldiers gets placed, everyone places their remaining soldiers in turn order. And then, again in turn order, everyone places their new druids and catapults. Just like the soldiers, druids and catapults can only go in provinces you control that have buildings in them. Any 5 of your soldiers in the same province can unite to form a single unit. And at any time, you can bust up a unit back into its single soldier components within the same province. Once all the new stuff is on the map, you go on to the movement step that I described earlier. Incidentally, if you don't like the buildings on a province you control, you can just get rid of them, including your capital city. But you're not allowed to demolish the extensions on your capital. If you want them gone, you have to let an enemy player do that for you. Potions. Here's another place that could be cut. Now that you have a sense of most of the game, let's talk about what those potions can do for you. At the holy site of Isis, you can spend saltpeter and mistletoe to brew a border hopper potion, which gets you a free movement, allowing you to move a selection of units from one province to an adjacent province, even if there's no gate between them. The steel ingredients potion does what it says on the tin. Spend a frog and a power mushroom to make it, and then drink it in a later round to take a random ingredient from another player. Once you've made those 2 potions, you can spend a mistletoe and a blood crystal as a druid action to brew an earthquake potion, which, when drunk, lets you destroy an enemy building in a province adjacent to the druid who drank the potion, even if there's no gate along the border. You can't earthquake a province that has 5 or more fortification points, though. If you earthquake someone's capital, you destroy 1 extension per earthquake. Earthquake a capital that has no extensions, and it gets busted down to a walled metropolis. Earthquake one of those, and you get to wreck either the wall or the metropolis expansion, turning the piece into a walled town. Earthquake that to get a town, and earthquake a town to get rubble. At any holy site of Tutatis, you can spend a druid action to cash in some saltpeter and a frog. Capital letter doing there. At any holy site of Tutatis, you can spend a druid action to cash in some saltpeter and a frog to brew a poisoning potion. At any holy site of Tutatis, you can spend a druid action to... At any holy site of Tutatis, you can spend a druid action to cash in some saltpeter and a frog to brew a poisoning potion, which lets you kill up to 3 soldiers in a province adjacent to your druid who's doing the poisoning. Which lets you kill up to 3 soldiers in a province adjacent to your druid who's doing the poisoning. You can spend a mushroom and a crystal to brew the invulnerable... Bloop. You can spend a mushroom and a crystal to brew the invulnerability potion, which lets you declare one of your provinces immune from attack, including from druid. You can spend a mushroom and a crystal to brew the invulnerability potion, which lets you declare one of your provinces immune from attack, including from druid attacks like earthquake and poisoning. You just can't declare immunity for the province with your capital in it. You just can't declare immunity for the province with your capital in it. With those two potions created, you can spend a mistletoe and a crystal at any holy site of Tutatis to brew the convert potion, which turns all of the enemy units in a province adjacent to your druid who drank the potion, ignoring gates, into your own units. Convert doesn't work on capitals, or on provinces with 6 or more soldiers, or on provinces with 1 or more druids. It's a very Age of Empires mechanic, the conversion. And for the big show, if you've brewed both the Earthquake and the Convert potions, you can spend 1 of each ingredient as a druid to brew the fabled Tyrannus potion, as long as you move your druid from his current province to a province you control with 1 of the 2 holy sites on it. In a later round, if one of your druids drinks that potion, you invoke Godfather Tyrannus and win the game with a religious victory. Each potion can be quaffed once per round, and your potions refresh at the beginning of each round. It's going to be a long one. Ooh. Trade and territory bonuses. There are 2 final things to know about Trinity of Reign. First, all players can trade resources and ingredients freely with one another. You can also sell any resource, wood, iron, or stone, to the bank for 1 coin, or buy any of the 3 resources for 6 coins. And if you manage to control whole swaths of land in Cairnhold, you stand to gain some territory bonuses. There are 6 territories, and each territory has 6 provinces. If you control all 6 provinces in a territory, you unlock a level 1 territory bonus, which earns you an additional 4 coins per round during the income phase. After that, every time you control a province with a town or castle in it in an additional territory, you go up 1 level on this territory bonus track. So if you held these 6 provinces, you'd be at level 1. As soon as you control this province in a second territory, you'd be at level 2. Take over this one, and you're still at level 2 because that's not a new territory. But if you grabbed this province in a different territory, you'd get to level 3, and so on. Each new level gets you more and more extra income, and if you make it to level 4, you also get 1 extra movement phase to shuffle your units around the map. Endgame. The game can end in 3 different ways, with 2 additional endings depending on how things go. If one of your druids drinks the potion of Tyrannus, that's an immediate religious victory. If you build the top of the ancestral hall and hang on to it for another full round, you win by wealth. Pardon me. And if you control an entire territory, along with 6, 8, or 9 additional... And if you control an entire territory, along with 6, 8, or 9 additional provinces with a town or a castle in them for a 2, 3, or 4 player game, you win with a military victory. If you manage to wipe another player completely off the map, or you reach the end of the 9th round and nobody's won yet, the game ends and you count up the scores. You get 1 point for each town, druid, group of 5 soldiers, and 1st tier potion you've managed to brew. You get 2 points for each metropolis, province you control, capital extension, territory bonus, and 2nd or 3rd tier potion you've brewed. Whoever has the most points wins. Almost there. You can also play Trinity of Reign in teams. The only changes in a team game are that friendly soldiers are able to enter each other's provinces without triggering a fight, and during a fight, allied units can share dice and split their losses however the teammates see fit. If one team member meets one of the victory conditions, both teammates share in the victory. Setup. To set up the game, lay the board on the table and randomly populate each province with a face-down token. If you're playing a 2-player game, remove all 6 of the tokens with this icon on them ahead of time, and choose one territory to be completely empty of tokens. This territory becomes a dead zone that you can't move through or control. Take your player board, 2 tracking cubes to remind you of your income, and 4 coins. Pile up your unemployed units nearby and make sure you can reach the different buildings on offer. Hide your player board with a privacy screen. Keep the resource cubes, ingredients, potions, money, and combat dice handy. The hairiest player goes first. Yes, really. That player gets the start player token and places 2 soldiers in a town for free on any province on the map and flips the token. If the province is barren, you have to remove the town and take 4 coins in lieu. Remember that provinces with sunshines on them are the only provinces where you can build metropolises and, ultimately, your capital city. Remember that provinces with sunshines on them are the only provinces where you can build metropolises and, ultimately, your capital city. Your capital city. Then each player going clockwise follows suit, placing 2 soldiers in a town. Then, in reverse turn order, the last player places a second pair of soldiers in a town anywhere on the map. They don't have to be adjacent to that first placement. Once you get back to the first player, you do it 1 more time in turn order, and then you get a free wall around one of your towns. So at the end of this setup, everyone will have placed up to 6 soldiers, 3 towns, and a wall on their last placement, depending on how many barren provinces they discover. Oh, something missing here. Something's missing. Then you place your druid on one of the provinces you control. So at the end of this setup, everyone will have placed 6 soldiers, a druid, a wall, and up to 3 towns, depending on how many barren provinces they discover. Put the round token on the first of the 2 initial peaceful rounds and kick off the first income phase, beginning with the starting player. And now, you're ready to play Trinity of Reign. Oh, it's such a relief to get to that line at the end. Oh boy, every single time. It's grueling. It's grueling. Let me just go stop. How do I stop? Looking for how to stop. Where are my controls? Sorry, I'm just in Audition and I don't know where the controls are. Oh, right there. Stop. Okay, save as. Very important. Save as. Save as Trinity of Reign VO in. That's around a table. How to play Trinity of Reign. Audio. And I save it as unedited. Of course. That's a big file. That's gonna be a big old honking video. All right. Alrighty. Badoop. That was one in the bag. Now, the one for Rolling Heights is way smaller, way shorter. Let Let me just get the script prepared. Thank goodness though, right? Whew. That one was grueling. Grueling. Oh, thank you. Hello. Welcome to Just End. Thank you for joining me. Like I said at the top, I don't think you were here for the beginning, but these are not intended to be entertaining live streams at all. They're just, I'm working, if you're working, turn me on, go do some vacuuming. Don't turn me, you know what I'm saying. Oh God, why do I do it to myself every single time? Let me just get this Rolling Heights script. Again, the forbidden, potentially forbidden Rolling Heights script. I'll actually point out something else that I'm doing. This is a new thing. If you caught the work jam, yeah, I made it through, Don. Just like, you see, like I did, editing is really frustrating too, but you see like anybody can sound great if they record it every sentence like 4 or 5 times, right? It's kind of like when you do photography. If you, I learned this like after we got away from film, and thank goodness every picture didn't cost like $4 to develop. Once we got into digital stuff, I'm like, I saw the light. I'm like, you can take like 8 million pictures and just pick the one that's good and throw the others, you know, 799,999 pictures out. And 709, is that 700? I'm bad at math. But just basically keep the good ones and then look like you're a halfway decent photographer when really it's just like you lucked out. That's kind of what I do with the voiceover stuff. You can hear my voice getting kind of tired too. I don't know if doing these back to back was such a grand idea, but so one of the things that I wanted to point out, with the microphone cable stuck in my toesies, is a new thing that I'm doing. This is again in response to, if you saw my work jam of 2 weeks ago, when I was looking at my thumbnails and addressing them at the urging or advice of somebody whose job it is to get millions of views on YouTube videos. Oh, Just N says, I just finished watching your Oh My Goods video. It's my first time watching one of your vids, and wow, I was super impressed. Well, thank you very much, Just N. You're not the person I recommended it to on Solo Board Gaming on Reddit, are you? Because I know that somebody there was looking for a really low profile solo game that had sort of like a campaign or continuing mode in it. And so I recommended Oh My Goods, Longsdale and Revolt, and Escape to Canyon Brook in that message. Do you memorize the script or are you teleprompted? Oh, you just jumping in here, Don. So I've got the script right here, but you're probably talking about the Ryan shots, right? Like the orange stuff. So this is the VO. So hey, Don Discussions PLD, good to see you. So this is the script for the entire thing, right? The Ryan shots and the voiceover shots where I'm not on camera. So I lay the entire track down and then I edit it. As you heard, there were lots of burps and lots of false starts and lots of my family walking around on the top floor. So I cut all that stuff out, and it goes from like a 3-hour file to a 1-hour file, and then I know how long the video is going to be. So that's step one. Later on, I'm now making this stuff where I get the Ryan shots like one of the last steps in the process. And one of the reasons I do that, I'm reordering things a little bit. So this used to be one of the first things I did. I'd do the script and then I'd mark it up. And as you can see, I've got all these little like light bulbs all over it. And that's my shot list. And what you can't see off in the corner is I wonder if I can I side scroll? No. Off in the corner is all the comments that list what has to happen in each sort of shot. So that's called annotation. So I do all of that and number all of my shots, and then I would jump right into laying down the VO. But I'm not doing that anymore because what I'm finding now is it's easier to cover off mistakes, and I find more mistakes when I actually go down and I sit down and I start to do the photography. I'm like, wait a second, I'm talking about pieces in the script that like don't even exist. I could say, oh, you can put 5 of these on the board. And then when I wrote that, I didn't have the game sitting in front of me. And now that I've got all the components, like there aren't 5 of these things. So I got to go change the script, but oh shoot, I already did the VO. So now what I'm doing is I'm doing photography first, and then that can inform the script. And I change the script, and then I do this part, and then I go and I do all the editing. So if you've caught past work jams, I do edit pass A and edit pass B. So the graphics and the highlights and everything are in edit pass B, and edit pass A is dropping in all the photos and syncing them up to this VO track, right? And then at almost the very end of the thing, one of the last things I do is I shoot the Ryan shots, and those are the things that you see here in orange. All that to answer your very simple question, do I memorize the script? When I do the Ryan shots, I'll have the monitor, and I showed this earlier in the stream, but a couple people right here. So I'll show you again. This is going to look really awful. Oh, okay, there's my ceiling. And then like, so this is what I'm looking at. There's my board game collection in the background. There's the camera I'm looking at. The construction paper is, that was a tip from somebody on the Discord server, that my lights were glaring too much and really messing with the light sensor on my camera. So that is, that's some construction paper with some clips on it to sort of block that light from coming in a little bit better. So it's not so glaring white. And then that's the monitor I'm looking at. So when I do these Ryan shots, I will have the script up and I read the line and like memorize it like on the spot and then deliver the line. And if I forget, I'll turn back to it. What word did I miss? Da, 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 okay. Then I keep going back and forth until I nail the line and then I move on to the next one. It's tedious, man. It's tedious. You thought I just winged it? Oh my God, that discussion, seriously? You thought I just winged it? Oh my God. These videos, hopefully you're seeing from this process, are meticulously planned and scripted. The how to play ones anyway. This I'm just winging, quite obviously. And the half winged, half scripted are the find the fun videos, the reviews that I do in front of my board game collection. So what I do with that is I have a Google Doc that it's a Google spreadsheet. So I've got the fun stuff and the not fun stuff, and I just make bullet point form notes and a couple things that I want to mention. And I look down at my computer and I'm like, okay, and I turn to the camera, blah, 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 too much blah. And then I cut out a bunch of blah, and that's that section. You know, go back and forth like that. Right. Oh, you're just kidding, Diner Discussions. Okay, cool. That 7th Continent box calls to me. I love that game. I didn't really get into it because I wanted to get it. So many of these games I wanted to play with family members. So I got it so that my wife Cheryl and I could play. She didn't dig it. So there's a bunch of games that I don't play because she's not interested in them. Mansions of Madness stays unplayed because it didn't attract her. Yeah, she didn't like 7th Continent all that much. Mage Knight she didn't get into, so I bought like the collector's edition ridiculous ultimate box or whatever. Barely touched that. Love your videos, man. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Discussions. That's so nice. What did you say? Sorry, I'm just catching back up. Just N said you didn't recommend it to me, but that's where I found the vid on Solo Board. Oh, okay. So you did see me recommending it to one of the people on Solo Board Game. Good to know. I got into a little bit of a fracas last night on Reddit. Speaking of Reddit, not my favorite place in the world. I mentioned the Discord server. There's a link to the Discord server. What strikes me about the Discord server is that so many people are so nice on that Discord server, and they'd be nice to me on YouTube. They're just nice. They're just lovely, wonderful people. If you hop into that Discord server, you'll find out. Reddit, bit of a different experience, as you can imagine. And so it's just, I saw a thread this week where people were criticizing the strident moderation on Reddit, on the Our Board Game subreddit, and I think it's valid criticism, but I don't know, man. It's a weird place. 3.5 million subscribers and like 100 active people, and the 100 active people are all mean. Right. Well, also identifying rules edge cases, thumbs up. Yeah, man. Oh my goodness, you haven't played it yet. You just watched the video, I'm imagining. That one's one where I couldn't figure out how to play it from just the instruction booklet alone. I had to pore over that thing, and then I had to go to Board Game Geek, and I had to go on the forums there and ask a bunch of questions, and it just took me a while to wrap my mind around it, because some rule books, I don't think they do a great job at really depicting. I think that one didn't use enough pictures. I think that's really all it was. But I thought if I could see it being played, I would get it. So I did the video. I'm on my way, laugh out loud. I'll play them with you. Yeah, thank you, Diner. Where do you live, Diner Discussions POD? I think we talked about it. You're a Yankee, aren't you? You're down somewhere south of the 49th, I believe. What are we talking about? Right, 7th Continent. But 7th Continent, one of my plans for 7th Continent, since you can play it solo, is I want to have an evening stream called Adventure Hour. Maybe not Adventure Hour, because it's going to be like 3 hours, but Adventure Night, where I play through games that have campaign modes or chapter modes. Not all of them will necessarily be solo, but I have a bunch. Like, I can't do Forgotten Waters because it's 6 people, and I want to play it with 6 people, but I have a bunch that go through episodic stuff, Mansions of Madness being one of them, 7th Continent is another. I'm trying to think of what else I have in my collection that does that kind of thing. I don't know why I'm wringing my hands so nervously. Oh my goodness. Relax, Ryan, relax. The VO is better when you relax. This is the script, the forbidden script. I don't know if this is embargoed and I'm not supposed to be showing you anything to do with this. I think it's okay. What am I trying to do here? Right, I'm trying to move the mouse over here and scroll it up. There we go. So the other thing that I've made a change, again, based on the feedback I got from the individual who knows how to get lots of views on videos, is he made this point, and I know this point. I know it, but I just haven't put it into practice decisively, consciously, is you have just a few seconds off the top of video to get people's attention. And if you squander that, they bounce out and forget about it. And if you look at your retention statistics, and retention is really important on YouTube, you can see like, here's the number of people who started watching the video, and then after about like the 6-second mark, everyone's like, man, not for me. And it falls down to like that. It's a big cliff, right? So you want to extend that cliff as long as possible. So his suggestion was, his or her, I don't know, this mystery advisor, just get into it as fast as possible. I watch other people's videos, and what they'll say is like, today we're going to be talking about this game. It's by this designer and this publisher. It's for this many players and da da da. So there's a lot of information that I thought, like, who cares? You got to tighten that up. So I, trailblazer that I am, I tightened that up. I thought, okay, well, we can do without the designer. Being a game designer myself, I love that board games give so much more credit to their designers, but get out of it. Who cares? Get rid of the publisher. The only time I mention the publisher is when I'm doing these Kickstarter campaign games where the reason I mention their name is because I want to put another reminder to people that I'm being paid to do this video. So I say, such and such publisher has asked me to teach you how to play. Right? So it's their idea and it's their funding this thing. Even though I do have like that on-screen disclaimer that says, contains paid promotion. I do like to have another reminder in there. Things are changing. I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to record it 2 different ways when I do the Ryan shots, the original way and the way I'm doing now. So let's take a look at that first line. First, all the Rahdo stuff, this is going to end up on Rahdo's channel. He has an intro where he says, hey, everybody. Right? He shows the little board game box. Today we've got this game, and Ryan's going to be a big moron. Here you go. Dummy, enjoy, blah. And then I'm like, yeah, it's me. I think that's how they go, right? If you've seen any of them, I say, thanks, Rahdo. The reason why I started like this, thanks, Rahdo, and then I say, it's Ryan from Nights Around the Table, is because I can, part of our arrangement is that I can re-air these videos on my channel if I so choose 6 months after the fact. So it's really easy for me to just cut off Rahdo's intro and me saying, thanks, Rahdo, and I say, hi, it's Ryan from Nights Around the Table. This is blah, blah, blah. So it makes a nice clean break. But I'm changing things a little bit. Now I'm going to add a WTF line at the beginning of all these videos, the ones that air on my channel and the ones that air originally on Rahdo's channel. And so this is the one that I came up with for this one. I'm just going to say, and again, he's squandered all of that intro doing his normal thing that if people are bored with, they might build out. But I'm going to start with the WTF line. For this one, I'm going to say, if one more construction worker lands on his head, we can finally finish this skyscraper. And then I'll say, hi, it's Ryan from Nights Around the Table. Here's how to play Rolling Heights. People will be like, what on earth is this fool talking about? And hopefully that's a little bit more hooky than, this is this game, and the AEG asked me to teach you how to play it. I don't know if any of this is riveting to anybody. Riveting, though, that's a good word because there's riveters in this game. They're the little blue meeples. Can I reach one? Look, it's a riveter from Rolling Heights. Okay. Recording, right? Here we go. And this one's way shorter. Look, this is 6 pages. And I can kind of tell how long a video is going to be by how many pages it runs, more or less. So this one's going to go about 20 minutes. And the other one, Trinity of Reign, is going to go for 6 hours. I don't know what to do. It's going to be over long. I got to talk to them about if they want it to go that long and they're okay with the price tag, no problem. Because the model, by the way, for making these videos is I charge a base rate and then a rate, an amount per minute of finished video, right? So the longer a video is, obviously, the more you pay, because like when you get into editing, and if you've seen the other work jams where I'm editing this stuff, it's like hours of work for a single minute of video, depending on what's going on. Great, Rolling Heights. There's the cover image for it. Like we said, it's like a 1920s style kind of thing. It's like, I like the artwork. That looks like, what's that street in San Francisco? The really big hill. The one I'm thinking of, you walk up to the top of that and then you get to the Tonga Lounge Tiki Bar in the basement of that hotel. And that's a good time. But then stumbling back down that hill is a little bit dangerous after the Tonga. I don't drink, but I've seen others crash into cars on foot. Parked cars. It's been a mess. Great. What's even happening? Okay, let me lube up. Let me open up Adobe Audition, which you won't see on your screen, just to get this file going. Testy test, 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 test. Check, check, check. Yeah, I hope it's all loud enough. Yeah, it's peaking. Another admission, I don't understand how decibels work. I don't understand why it goes into negative numbers as it gets loud. Well, not really. Like, I don't understand why 0 is -14 and it's not 0. I don't get it. If somebody can explain decibel measurement to me, going nuts. Here we go. Oh, Cheryl has decided that this is the right time of day to start walking around upstairs. And my youngest daughter is almost home from school, so that'll cause a disruption too. Let's see how much I can get laid down before that happens. Big old burp. Thanks, Rado. Thanks, Rado. If one more construction worker lands on his head, we can finally finish this skyscraper. It's Ryan from Nights Around a Table. Here's how to play Rolling Heights. You and your friends play rival contractors in the 1920s who are competing to complete construction projects for wealthy real estate moguls. You'll roll your staff member meeples like dice to gain construction materials that let you complete the patterns on the buildings you buy, which will earn you more meeples, points, and money to start new construction projects. When all the cubes of a certain color run out, that triggers the end of the game. You finish up the round and then play one final round before scoring private and public goals. Whoever's earned the most points wins. It's a weird bubble in my throat. Rolling Heights is a deck builder at heart, except that instead of a deck of cards, you have a handful of meeples. 2 brown carpenters and 2 navy gray construction workers. And you'll use those meeples to complete buildings, which often earns you more and different meeples. Everyone starts with a single level 1 building plan somewhere on the map. Everyone starts with a single level 1 building plan somewhere on the map. The cost to complete a project is on the tile and along the side because these spaces get covered up and you can't see them. So to complete this housing project, you need to add 3 wood cubes to it. Then you cap it off with your color and earn 1 point. And either an architect or a riveter meeple. It's your choice. In order to get the construction cubes you need to finish your buildings, you have to roll your meeples into your box, and you get different stuff depending on how they land. Let's roll! The 3 ways for a meeple to land are flat on its back, standing straight up, or some weird head or handstand like this. A worker who lands like this is exhausted. That meeple is working... This meeple is working hard, and these ones are working steady. Although I'm not sure I'd say that a carpenter doing a headstand is all that steady. You'll get the most benefit from workers who are working hard. If one worker lands on top of another one, well, that roll counts. But if someone ends up hung in a weird way and you can't figure out if it's ready to work or not, you can re-roll that worker, even inside someone else's box. if you don't want to smash into the meeples you've already rolled. So you roll up to 10 meeples into your box. I got a weird click in my throat. You only start the game dry. You only start the game with 4, so roll all 4. Later, if you have more than 10 to choose from, you pick 10 and roll. Later, if you have more than 10 to choose from, you pick 10 and roll those. They're considered your active meeples for this turn. They're considered your active meeples for this turn. You pluck out any meeples who are working hard or working steady. You keep rolling the other guys until at least half of your meeples are working hard or working steady. So if you had an odd number of active meeples, say 5, you'd keep rolling and plucking until you had at least 3 working meeples, and then you'd stop. Let's say that later in the game you have 12 meeples. You pick these 10. You pick these 10 and roll them. 3 of them are hard. 3 of them are working hard or working steady. You're not quite at half, so you roll the remaining meeples, and 1 more is ready to work. Oh, still not at half. Roll again. Oh, everyone's tired. Well, you're not at half, so roll them again. Aha! 2 more want to work. Well, that's 6 meeples ready for action. Well, that's 6 meeples ready for action. You could stop there, but this is a bit of a push your luck game. If you want more meeples to work for you, you could scoop up your remaining meeples and re-roll them.
Get to work, you lazy so-and-sos. Get to work, you lazy so-and-sos. Get to work, you lazy so-and-sos.
You get to keep anyone who wants to work. Oh, great. Here's 1 more. You can keep rolling like this, pushing your luck and keeping anyone who doesn't land sleepy. But if on any of those push your luck rolls, if every meeple you roll is flat on their backs exhausted, you go bust. Your workers are tired of being pushed to their limit and they go on strike. You have to lose half of the meeples who were ready to work, rounded down. But you get a wild resource token as compensation. Let's build. Once you've sorted out who's working and who's sleeping on the job, you get to put your meeples to work. There are 4 different construction materials in the game: wood, glass, concrete, and steel. Here's why it benefits me to do the photography first, because now that I've done the photography, I know that I showed the cubes in a different order than I've written here. So it was bad note keeping on my part, but I can go fix it right now. Where am I? Where is my mouse? What did I do? I did wood, concrete, glass, and steel. Whoa, don't yell it. Gee whiz. There are 4 different construction materials in the game: wood, concrete, glass, and There are 4 different construction materials in the game: wood, concrete, glass, and steel. If you have a meeple whose color matches one of those materials, you get 2 of those cubes for a hardworking meeple, or 1 cube for a steadily working, Or 1 cube for a steadily working breakdancing meeple. Or 1 cube for a steadily working breakdancing meeple. There are 5 other colors of meeples you can hire, and we'll talk about what they do a little later. All of the construction cubes you earn on your turn are use it or lose it. You can put them on matching spots on any construction site you own to start completing the building. If you finish it, you cap it off and collect the reward. You might earn points, or extra meeples to roll on your next turn, or even certain perks depending on where this building is in relation to other adjacent buildings of certain types. You can always trade 2 cubes of any color for a glass, wood, or concrete cube, or 3 cubes of any color for a more premium steel cube, as often as you like. Once per turn, you can also buy a new building plan. The available plans are in 2 rows on either side of the board. Thanks, Susanna. Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't be talking to you. Sorry. Shh. I'm on air. The available plans are in 2 rows on either side of the board. The level 1 plans are here, and the fancier level 2 plans are here. The cost of each plan is next to the tile. So this one costs 2 of any type of cube So this one costs 2 of any type of cube, for example. You can take the plan and put it somewhere on the board. Now, it has to be placed on a chunk of empty land that's orthogonally adjacent to one of your existing tiles. So anywhere along here or here, but no diagonals. Quack. If you decide to space it out, you have to pay 1 cube for every space in between your whistle. If you decide to space it out, you have to pay 1 cube for every space in between your new site and your closest existing tile. If you decide to space it out, you have to pay 1 cube for every space in between your new site and your closest existing site. So place here and you need to pay 0 extra cubes. So place here and you need to pay 0 extra cubes, 1 extra cube, 2 extra cubes. And you have to be able to pay the number of cubes that plot of land demands. If you can't afford to buy a certain tile and place it, you're not allowed to buy that tile. And you can't save tiles off the map for future turns. I think I missed a rule. No, yeah, it's there. Okay. When you place the tile, future turns. When you place the tile, add one of your ownership markers to it at ground level. Some of the spaces on the board reward you for laying down certain types of building plans. So if you place a housing development or a park on this space, you immediately earn 1 point. If you buy a tile from the level 1 market or the level 2 market, and it's not one of these 2 end tiles, you sweeten those 2 tiles with 1 wild token apiece. These tokens can really pile up. Whichever player buys these plans gets to keep any tokens that have accrued on them. After you used all the working meeples you found a use for, and optionally bought and placed a new building plan in any order you like, you return all your leftover cubes to the supply, kick all your workers back to your pool, and if you bought a building plan, you slide the tiles toward the end to close the gap, and deal out a new tile to fill the hole. If one stack is empty, take the new tile from the other stack. Then it's the next player's turn. going clockwise around the table. Let's hire. Now we know enough about the game to find out what the rest of the meeples do. The green meeples are public servants. A steadily working green meeple gets you an invigoration point, while a hard-working green meeple gets you 2 invigoration points. Those points let you upgrade a meeple to the next level of workplace readiness. So, with 1 point, you can turn an exhausted meeple into a steadily working meeple, or a steadily working meeple into a hard-working meeple. With 2 points, you can upgrade 2 meeples once each, or rouse an exhausted meeple into a hard-working meeple. What's going on? What's going on here thematically? Is it coffee? It must be coffee. Is it coffee? It must be coffee. A green worker can't invigorate another green worker. You can't invigorate anyone who wasn't in the original batch of up to 10 active workers you rolled on this turn. And you can't expend a working meeple and then use a green worker's power to make that worker work again. It's coffee. It's just... So here's where there's a joke, and I wrote a bunch of different takes because clients usually don't like jokes in the videos, especially the jokes that I come up with, which are mostly about drug and alcohol abuse. So I've done a few different reads on this. I'll try the most risky one first, and then when they say no, I'll say I've got these other options, which would you like? And then they'll say no joke, and it'll just end on that sentence, and I won't do any of this. It's just coffee. It's just coffee, it's just coffee, not espresso. It's just coffee, not speed. It's just coffee, not time travel. A steadily working yellow politician meeple. A steadily working yellow politician meeple earns you 1 point, while a hard-working politician gets you 2 points. A pink executive meeple gets you either 1 or 2 spending points. Spending points are an ephemeral currency that you can use in place of physical cubes anywhere in the game, except for constructing buildings. So instead of blowing cubes to buy a building plan for the market, you can use spending points. Rather than paying 2 cubes to buy this building plan, you can use 2 spending points. Rather than paying 2 cubes to buy this building plan, you can use 2 spending points if your pink executive meeple is working hard, or 1 spending point and any cube if your executive is merely working steady. You could also apply your spending points to the cost required to put a building plan down on the map, or the cost required to space it out from your other buildings. If you have multiple execs working for you, you can potentially afford more expensive building plans. But you can still only ever buy 1 plan during your turn. And just like cubes, any unused spending points go away at the end of your turn. A black city planner meeple who's working steady lets you re-roll your exhausted meeples and hang on to whoever's ready to work. A hard-working city planner lets you take an extra building plan for free. Each hard-working city planner you have lets you buy an additional building plan over your limit of 1 tile per turn. The cost of the tile is free, and you don't have to pay any distance fees when you place your free tile. But you do have to pay any costs on the space itself. Now, the purple meeples are public figures, and they're interesting. If they work hard or steady, they don't do anything, unless you've completed a building that has a purple meeple power on it. Here's one example. If your purple meeple is working steady and you've completed the Gambrel Museum, you get 1 extra spending power this turn. Is it Gambrel? Gambrel? I'll say Gambrel just in case it's Gambrel. Here's one example. If your purple meeple is working steady and you've completed the Gambrel Museum, you get 1 extra spending power this turn. If your purple meeple is working hard, you score 1 point for each empty space that's adjacent to the museum, including water. So here, you get 3 points. Here's another example. If you've completed the City Tribune and you have a steadily working... Here's another example. If you've completed the City Tribune and you have a steadily working purple public figure, you get 1 point. Getting phlegmy. If you have one who's working hard, you get to double the points from it. If you have one who's working hard, you get to double the points from your yellow politicians this turn. Each purple meeple has to use the purple meeple power on a different building. You can't double dip. Let's score. The end of the game is triggered when any single color of cubes runs out. Then you introduce these orange cubes that stand in for any cube color for the rest of the game. You finish out the current round until the last player in turn order takes a turn, and then you loop around the table and do one more final round where everyone gets a turn. You finish out the current round until the last player in turn order takes a turn, and then you loop around the table and do one more final round where everyone gets a turn. Hopefully you'll already have racked up a whack of points during gameplay, but there are a few more ways to score at the end. Sorry for hawking a loogie. First, there are 3 public goals called ads that could swing your score either up or down, because a few of them actually take points away. First, there are 3 public goals called ads that could swing your score either up or down, because a few of them actually take points away. So this one... lets you choose the neighborhood with the most parks, finished or unfinished, and rescore one of your completed buildings there. A neighborhood is one of these 6 rectangular map tiles. This one gets you 5 extra points for every set of buildings containing a park, a housing unit, a factory, and a commercial building that you completed. But this one loses you 1 point for each of your buildings, completed or otherwise, in the neighborhood with the most factories. But this one loses you 1 point for each of your buildings, completed or otherwise, in the neighborhood with the most factories. And those factories don't have to be owned by you in order to lose points from them. And those factories don't have to be owned by you in order for you to lose points from them. Next, you've been hanging on to 2 of these personal target tiles since the beginning of the game. Now's your chance to choose one of them and score it. Here's one that gets you 3 points per completed government building that's orthogonally adjacent to any of your completed parks. The parks have to be yours, but the government buildings don't. So you can piggyback an opponent's planning to earn yourself some points. If you choose this one, it lets you get 1 point per completed building you own that's orthogonally adjacent to water. Anytime your score marker passes the 50 points mark, throw a cap of your color on the space as a reminder to add 50 to your score. You also get 1 point at the end of the game for each wild token you've held on to. Whoever has the most points wins. If there's a tie, whoever has the most meeples wins. And if there's still a tie, all tied players share in the victory. I say that line a lot. Let's begin. To set up the game, start with the scoreboard at the top of the table. Randomly build the map below it. The neighborhood tiles have an A side and a B side. In a 2-player game, you use all the A sides. With 3 players, use 4 A's and 2 B's. And in a 4-player game, you go half and half. The B sides are more densely packed with land spaces than the A sides. Then you build the level 1 and level 2 market strips on either side of the board. Shuffle and stack the building plans and deal 9 tiles out to each side. Put 3 ads on these spaces randomly. Group the meeples by color and the resource cubes too. That one line and the resource cubes too. The shot's going to take 2 seconds to play on the screen, but it took me half an hour to 45 minutes to do it because I'm meticulous. You'll see in the video, it's meticulous rows and rows and rows of these stupid cubes. And this section's complicated. Usually when there's a big pile of stuff on the table, I'll set it up and then I'll take things away and then I'll reverse the shot in the final thing. But in this, all the cubes have to come out and then you remove 12 of them and then you remove 13 of them, or the other way around, and I couldn't reverse it in my head properly, and so I messed it up and then I had to change the script. Anyway. In a 3-player game, you get rid of 12. In a 3-player game, you get 12 extra cubes of each color and 23. Is that right? 13 is 13, not 23. Oh my God, me and numbers. In a 3-player game, you get 12 extra cubes of each color and 13 more of each color for a 4-player game. And I'm going to reverse those in case I was completely wrong. In a 3-player game, you get 13 extra cubes of each color and 12 more of each color for a 4-player game. Stack the wild tokens nearby. Each player gets a box to roll their meeples, 2 brown construction workers, 2 navy gray construction workers. No, it's carpenters. Each player gets a box to roll their meeples, 2 brown carpenters, 2 navy gray construction workers, and 2 randomly dealt target tiles. Take all the ownership caps in your player color. Put your player cube on 0 points. Choose who goes first at random. That player gets the start player village person. Beginning with the last player in turn order and going counterclockwise, everyone gets to take a single building plan from anywhere along the level 1 row and place it anywhere on the map. Just not on water, and not on any spot that costs cubes to place something. Mark the plan with your building marker as usual. Then the next player in reverse turn order Then the next player in reverse turn order gets to pick and place a level 1 plan. But each player has to be a minimum of 2 orthogonal spaces away from everyone else. That means diagonals are okay. I don't know if that's even true. I gotta ask them. Once everyone has placed, you slide the tiles down, fill up the row, and start rolling. And now you're ready to play Rolling Heights. Choosh. He's finish. He's finish, everybody. He's finish. Will you flash a shot of the village? Yeah, you didn't get that joke because you haven't seen what the thing looks like. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's on my table of horrors somewhere. All the pieces for both of these games mixed in together. I can't. Oh, there he is. So he's this little guy. He's just a construction worker, so I thought it was an easy Village People joke, which they probably won't like, and they'll say, cut it, and that'll be fine, because they're paying. That's cool. I can deal. Thanks for asking. Let me just hit a marker. Rolling Heights VO complete. So then the next step in the process, which I probably won't show you because it's really, really dull. Let me just save this file in Adobe Audition. Save as, browse, how to play Rolling Heights. Yeah, I structured the script in such a way that if they don't like the village people joke, I'd cut the line and nothing happens, right? It was funny. I woke up a couple days ago thinking like, oh yeah, I've got something that I did for Genotype where I made, it wasn't just one puerile stupid joke, but it was like a stupid baby joke that I like, as you know, I like to beat a dead horse sometimes with my jokes. So it just went on for like a 2-minute sex sequence, and the client didn't like it, but I asked permission to show that sequence in like a blooper reel later for patrons, and they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I accidentally like deleted all my files for that, but I saved that piece of audio, so if I wanted to, I could recreate it and create another blooper reel for you guys. I know it's been a while since I put up a blooper reel for patrons, but maybe I can get to work on that next month once I do these. Man, the calendar is freaking me out, you guys, because I've got so both of these, I believe, launch on, is November 3rd a Tuesday? Let's just take a look. November 3rd is November 2nd, so I got one day less than I thought. But you can't deliver something to the client like the day that they need to use it. So basically, I have the rest of this week. Man, it's going to be a busy weekend. But what I would do from that point onward, let me see if I can share my, let's go here, and I will share my window capture, audition. Sorry, I didn't know if I would make it this far, so I didn't prepare. No, that's the chat. Let's go to audition. It doesn't want to let me share that window with you. I don't know how. Suffice it to say, oh, I know how. Wait, I do know how. Display capture. It's going to be middle monitor, display capture. Nope, not that. Nope, not that. No, it won't let me. It won't let me. I don't know how. So once you add all the good VO you got from a session, you usually have to go back and re-record a couple things. Yeah, that's the pickup step. So we try to avoid that as much as possible. But yeah, so the next steps are after I end the stream, which will be very shortly, I'll cut all that junk out where I was talking to you guys or ringing my bell or people were walking upstairs or I was rereading a line. So I'll just condense everything into just the keepable part. That'll be the VO final, and then I will know how long each video will be. Like I said, I can't see Rolling Heights being more than 15 to 20 minutes, but Trinity of Reign is going to be pushing 30. We'll see how that goes. So that's going to be more work. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This is tough, and we're coming down to the wire. And then I take that, and I think that if you've attended past Work Jam streams before, you've seen the rest of the process. So I do edit pass A for each of them. I'm gonna be working on these simultaneously. It's like Back to the Future, where they shot both movies at the same time, except the final product won't be nearly as exciting or profitable. But I take that audio track and I lay it down in Premiere, and then I take all the photos that I took yesterday and over the weekend, and I slot them in and I time them to that audio track, and I cut it up, all the sections that have Ryan shots, just space those out and put big orange blobs in there. And step 3, draw the rest of the owl, basically. And then I do edit pass B, which is all the tracing, and whenever we got digital elements like cards and tokens and stuff flying in and flipping around. And then by that point, if I've noticed any mistakes, I just keep like a running list on the bottom of the script, and I just write pickups, and I'm like, oh, I messed this up, oh, I gotta get that, or like shots I missed, or shots I really screwed up, or I take the shot and I thought it looked good, and then when I take it into the computer, it's like, why is that so blurry? Or, or usually it's something like, I'll be doing the thing and I'll be like, oh man, I got that shot and I've got this piece on the map next to this piece, and that can't happen, and the client's going to catch it. So a good example with Rolling Heights is that at one point I took a shot of the beginning of the game and I had the starting tiles abutting each other. And then when you just heard it in the voiceover, when I get to the end of the script, I say, when you place your first tiles on the thing, they got to be 2 orthogonal tiles or spaces spaced out. And then I was like, oh shoot, I did that one shot and they weren't spaced out. So sometimes I'm able to go in with Photoshop and like fudge that and fix it, and sometimes it's just not salvageable. I just have to add it to the pickup list. But then like there's my list of pickups, and when I'm doing a client project, I will not do the pickups. I'll just keep a list of them, and when I show them the thing, sometimes I'll let the client catch the mistake. But they always get one revision round. So I get them the video and they look at it and they're like, you messed this up and you messed this up, and I add that to my list of pickups, and then I go shoot it. So the hard thing is matching it, right? So I have to make sure that when I do audio pickups, at least, in order for it to sound exactly the same, I have to have the same energy level. My voice has to feel the same way that it does right now, which is to say a little bit tired and a little bit dry, to be honest. I have to make sure that the air conditioning and the heating are off. I have to make sure that nobody's walking around upstairs. I have to make sure even that I'm angling my head the same way, because I've done stuff before where I used to have like a little laptop right here in front of me and I'd read it, and then another time I'd read from a script, but because like the sound waves aren't bouncing off the glass of the laptop and I've got a piece of paper instead, the audio sounds different, like considerably different. It sounds like I'm in a different room or something. So you just try to match the conditions as well as you possibly can, so it doesn't feel like pickups are coming out of left field or they sound like you're covering up errors. But it's challenging. I don't know. This is the step. The audio step is one of the audio thing is like one of the things that I know the least about. And I was saying I don't really understand how decibels work, and I don't understand why silence isn't 0. I don't understand why silence is like -12 or -14. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, cool. Thank you so much for joining me. I got tons more work to do. I'm going to be slamming these together all through the weekend, every evening. I'm about to cry. That's cool. Thanks for coming. Like I said, another shout out for the Discord server. There's the link. If you want to join us and have fun with the lovely people there, please do. We're talking about board games and all kinds of other stuff. We're talking about trains and or mental health, depending on how you're feeling that day. This is a new channel. We're talking about video games. We're talking about pop culture, all kinds of stuff. And if you're a patron, if you decide to patronize me on Patreon, then you'll get a special differently colored name tag, access to a couple of other channels that nobody has access to, including a suggestion box that I heed very closely and carefully. And there's some great suggestions that have come in that I have not had time to implement yet because I'm working on these videos. I don't have very much time, but I'll get to it. And I should also show you a little bit about what I'm working on and what's coming up for the channel. So these 2 videos are going to be for Rahdo's channel. For Nights Around the Table alone, I'm working on Catan Seafarers is going to be one of them. And then after Catan Seafarers, I'm working on a how to play video for On Mars, which should be very, very exciting. And then on Thursday's stream, you know that I do a solo version of a game, and maybe you can tell me on the Discord server what you prefer, because I'm adding an evening stream as well. But either on the Thursday stream in the afternoon, same bat time, same bat channel, I'm going to be playing, or on Friday or Saturday night this weekend, I'm going to be playing the digital version of Wingspan, which is on Steam, also available on the Switch, and I'm going to be giving away copies of it. At least 2 copies, perhaps 3, we'll see, but at least 2 copies I'm going to give away. That's courtesy of of Monster Couch, who developed Wingspan Digital. So look forward to that, another giveaway. So I will part now. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you again in the next one. Did you just watch that whole thing? Oh, hey, to 100% this video, click the badge to subscribe, and then click the bell to get notifications when I've got new stuff.